Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Brittany O'Clair here. We currently don't have Kat with us. We're having some technical problems. We seem to have little issues each call that we're slowly working through to make sure that we can get it up and rolling. Kat, you're here. Can you hear me?
You're not recording.
Oh, it was. Yep, it's live. We're live. Can you hear me? Well, on my end, it says that we are live, ready to go. Kat, I'm not sure if it's me or her, so we're not really sure how this one's going to turn out, but we will just push forward.
No. We're not on air.
Can you hear me?
We're not on air. We are on air.
It's telling me we are.
Can't hear you. Non, s'il te plaît, faut-moi la paix, j'y arrive pas. J'ai pas d'internet, j'ai pas de connexion, j'ai rien, ça me fait chier. Je voudrais un thé, s'il vous plaît. J'ai pas partage de data là.
Okay, everybody, I'm just going to quickly go over the intro. Welcome back. It is Monday morning once again, and we are going to be doing Naysayers, the people in our lives who have heavy opinions about what we're doing with our lives, any ventures that we choose to take, and when we step out of our comfort zones and we start to take risks in life, we always inevitably have the people in our lives who care about us and who love us and who have opinions about what we're doing. And quite often we get those opinions, we hear those opinions. We don't have Kat with us. If you've already heard that, I'm not sure what you've caught and what you haven't caught. It's kind of been...
Yeah.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I can hear you. Welcome back. So I just explained a little bit about what the term naysayers is, what are naysayers. And so we're just going over, inevitably, if we take risks in life and we go on endeavors that are out of the box and different from our influence, we will have people that have opinions about it, and usually those opinions come from fear. But I think we have a few good points to make about those people. I know that when I first started an online business, because it's so new to society, a lot of people are like, well, what are you doing? It doesn't make sense. Why would you invest in something like that? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I would get defensive, immediately, because my heart's telling me that it's the path I know I need to be on. So when someone confronts that, I got defensive. But we shouldn't get defensive. We should come from a place of curiosity. And Kat, I know you made a good point when you set up the call about, do we really progress without the naysayers? So I'll let you follow through with that. I think it's a really good point, because I kind of have, along the same lines, I'm thinking about the same thing.
Okay, yes, sorry. I wanted also to say that naysayers is nothing new. I mean, as Brittany was saying, they come from fear, and fear is nothing new. And there's a lovely Chinese proverb I love to quote, it's the person who says it can't be done, shouldn't stop, or, interrupt is the actual quote, the person doing it. So it's Chinese proverb, so it's probably, zillion years old. So it's nothing new, and you should be aware that this is something you're going to come across. And as Brittany was saying, before you can come from a place of, curiosity and love, you're obviously being very defensive, because you yourself are in a place of fear. When you start, whether it be this endeavor or anything, I mean, like, just being a parent, for example, you're in fear, although you can't allow this fear to transpire. Otherwise, the little baby will feel it and won't know what is going on. So this is, to me anyway, I used to be, terrified of spiders, but with the kids going, oh, what's this, mummy? And you just have to sort of pick it up and go, it's nothing, I'll just put it outside. Whereas inside you're going berserk. You can't transpire that, because otherwise your kid will just freak out even more. So you learn these things as you go along. So it's the same with your business. You're sitting there and you personally think you found the bee's knees, obviously, otherwise you wouldn't be joining, or that it's the new gym, or whatever it is that you happen to be doing that's new for you, and you're really excited about it. But of course you have your own phobias, because you're coming from that place of your own comfort zone initially, so you're making your own transgression, and it is very difficult. While you're doing this transgression, you want everyone to sort of pick you up with a little cushion and carry you, gently over, but they're not. They're sort of hammering you down, saying, stay there, what are you doing, So yourself in your mind is a little bit, which way do I go? So I think that once you can be in a place of comfort and love, and and all the tools we have to help you, sit in your own power, then you can look at curiosity and everything. I think Brittany's done it really, really fast. It took me a wee while longer than just a quick year, but so there's all this that comes into play, and these are people that you really love and respect, namely your family, or your spouse, or your children even, coming up to you going, whatever. So you have to be armed. Is a bit of a funny word, but you do have to be armed to protect yourself initially, so that you can get your own self prepared and come from this place of love and curiosity, where you can just explain it. And naysayers, being what they are, will not really change. So unfortunately, there are few friends that you just have to let go of, really, because you're just not the same person you were before. So this is also a process, because it's not very easy to do, and you sometimes you're really dumbfounded and you can't believe it. So you keep in this zone of comfort, and you're going backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards, and backwards and forwards. But then it's it's your own path. But in the end, if you have this dream, and this is why you set up this, you're going to the gym to lose your 5 kilos, or maybe a bit more, or whatever it is you're doing, reading a book a week, or whatever it is you're doing, you have to just suddenly remember this and just try and just ground yourself and see yourself with this dream in reality, and then deal with the naysayers. But they will always be there. I mean, it doesn't, it's whatever level you're at. Also, I'd like to just point out, it's not because you've made it, in inverted commas, that naysayers go away. They will never go away, because someone's always happy in their comfort zone. So you have to be. But yes, it's true that in the beginning you should definitely try and come from a place of love, which is very, very difficult, because you're shit scared yourself. There's no other words I can think. So I do think I was thinking about James, who was on the call, earlier on, or a few weeks ago. Those beginning weeks are very, very. It's make or break time for you, and you have this dream, and you're like, oh my God, and so it's very, very difficult to learn how to deal with it, which is why we do. We're helping, we're trying to help put value, so that you can sit in your own power, and like our little logo, a lot of thought's gone into that, and be sitting in your own hand, and yet you let room in for people to come and come in. You're not sort of blocked off in a little circle. You want to share and exchange, because we're human beings, social beings, So I think that all this is very, very important, and it's a process, and it's very, very long. Or not. It depends.
That's really, really well said. Really well said. She's absolutely right. Like, that's why I was so defensive, because, I was very fearful, and that's inevitable. And so I think another good point when it comes to naysayers is identifying the ones that whose opinions you don't let in to your decision-making process or yourself, and the ones that you do come to with curiosity. And I think through identifying those people, you need to look at where they are. And it doesn't mean if they're successful or making a lot of money doing this or that. Where they are means are they sitting on the sidelines in their comfort zone judging, or are they also getting their ass kicked out there, taking risks and stepping out of their comfort zone? And then they might have an opinion whether they agree with what you're doing or not. So I think deciphering between a naysayer, a sideline comfort zone naysayer, and just a disagreement is important as well, because it takes us to, we need disagreements with people so that we can grow. So identifying whether that person is in a place where you can accept their opinion and take it in, or if you need to block yourself from it. I know with myself, I blocked everybody's opinions. I was just scared, and I was just like, don't talk to me about it. I know what I'm doing. Like, don't even mention it. And then, you know, people lose belief, because when you get defensive and you know, like right away, then they start to wonder, well, what's the problem? I'm just wondering what you're doing and why you're doing that and why you think it's so wonderful. And when you're scared, you don't know how to explain it. You want to explain everything, you know, just like verbal diarrhea, but that doesn't help either. So I think deciphering between the people that you need to keep their opinions in mind and listen to them and engage with them, whether they disagree with you or not, and the people who are actually sitting on the sidelines in their comfort zone, just judging, then there's a difference between those people, and deciphering between them, asking yourself, what is this person doing with their life? Are they going somewhere, or are they thriving to change and grow and take risks in their life and play a big game with their life? Or are they actually sitting on the sidelines and just judging?
Very good point, but I would, sorry, I'm being very pernickety here.
That's okay. That's what it's all about.
I would say,
to go to.
I'd say some of them are naysayers and others are critiques. So someone who's giving a critique, good or bad, is someone who's in like a peer-to-peer.
Yeah.
Whereas a naysayer is just someone who's desperately trying to hold you down because of their own fears. Well, that's my opinion. Again, you know, I'm not judging or anything, but I think you nailed it on the head. And sometimes, often, we don't make the differentiation of those two groups of people who are there to just help us, because, you know, in the final analysis, they do help us, even though they don't know it. We don't know it at the time, but they do help us.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Because they make us.
I think that even the naysayers, like some people who are very, very close to me, it's hard to understand. And you know, my spouse, and it's the resistance that I have gotten because of his opinion. You know, it's just because he doesn't know what it's about. He runs a traditional company, so what I'm doing seems very, it's risky, and you know, in his mind, he doesn't want anything bad to happen. It's not a place of it's fear. That we went over that. It's fear. So I lost my.
Sorry, getting my tea brought in to me.
You led me to a thought, and I got off track and lost it.
Sorry. Just moving my computer up in case tea gets spilled. Yeah, so there is various ways to cope while you're going through all this. We can talk about little coping mechanisms for now, while Brittany will just get her spark back. You have to like safeguard your goals is very important, and that's why Stuart Ross always says he doesn't really plan on having goals. What he plans is having an ideal day, because when you have an ideal day, that can change daily. I mean, you can decide, you can be doing something, think, oh yeah, I'd like to do that every day, you know, something new that you're just trying, you didn't know, whether it be reading half an hour before you start work as opposed to just while you're going to bed. You know, these things that you try and put into place maybe. So I think your goals, having done mainly normal goals, you know, normal goal setting, smart goal setting and all this, I think that the ideal day routine, putting it in your head is a lot, you know, a lot more fun already to do. And because there are these things that are imperative for a parent, and a single parent at that, you know, getting the kids from school or off to school or off to kids, you know, at the dinner times, bath times if they're small, you know, when they're small, they're very, well, I was Sergeant Major, you know, I was in the army, it was like, sorry, Brittany, She's been in the army, so you know, to me it felt like the army, you know, and they were in bed by 8 p.m. no matter what, you know. So I didn't, you know, move from that at all. Whereas now there are, you know, teenagers. It's a lot different, you know, have such a strict thing. I'm trying school, you know, etc. And I've brought them up in a certain way, but you know, it's a lot more lenient at the weekends if we did, you know, 2 p.m. as opposed to when they're, you know, little babies. You can't, it's just unheard of. So, you know, you yourself learn. So when you have these, like when you set your daily activities, I think it's easier in the beginning anyway to try and think of your ideal day, you know, whether then you can think of your surroundings, where you want to be, and you can really just sit down and like, do I really want to sit at the beachfront with the, you know, okay, when the wind will be coming, there'll be sand everywhere, the baby, maybe not, maybe I'll be like a kilometre in, you know, you can really just sit down and give this a lot of thought. Or, you know, my child really loves the cold, so where, you know, where would be like the halfway line, or, you know, you can really sort of delve a lot deeper into the feelings, and it's the emotions and the feelings which will help you when these naysayers coming at you. You can just sit there and picture your living room, for example, where you're going to be when you're eating dinner with the family, or, you know, you have a lot more scope of things to grab than just, I'm going to make 10 leads and, you know, $10,000 at the end of the month, you know, and you've written out all your statements and all this. I mean, this is, you know, and that never really talked to me, you know, $10,000 at the end of the month doesn't really do much for my emotions or anything. So whereas, you know, if you say to me, right, I need to be in this type of house with a huge bathtub, you know, I want, you know, and you can picture it, you could got little lampshades, and, you know, you can really go deep. And anytime, you know, you're sitting in the traffic jam, you're bored, and you can just do a little bit more work on that, you know, it's something. So I think one of the ways is the ideal day, so that you can just, you know, when things go bad and when people are sort of getting at you, you can just go into your bubble, do all this. And I found something, I did a little video on this actually. I found these 2 words just absolutely amazing. Okay. And that just disarms the person totally. And I had this woman that was, you know, speaking to me, and I thought, oh my goodness. And I was ready to retaliate and all this, and I just didn't have I don't have the same vibrations. I just didn't want to go down that road. And I just suddenly, I don't know why, I just went, okay. And just sat there smiling, and this woman was completely disarmed. And that makes them stop, think about what they're saying, and well, what do you think? That, you know, and then they become more mellow, a bit more. So I really recommend you use those 2 words. You know, already you make your ideal day, which is really something very, very strong, that, you know, that you can then have just a word, and if you're in your new house or you're in your whatever it is, and then just these little words, okay, you know, and it just completely changes the conversations around. They're just ready to either listen to you, or they carry on their rant, but they know, you know, you're just going, okay, and you found a way to just, you know, gently close that door, not being aggressive or sending any animosity or anything, you know. I found that really, really helpful. Doesn't always work, obviously. Some people will have that, you know, the kids especially, but that's another one. So yes, as Brittany was saying, you know, you have to evaluate your naysayer's background. You know, are they sitting on the fence, or are they, you know, giving a good positive critique? Are they genuinely concerned, and are they active? You know, ignore them. Like, you know, my sister would say this to me. I'd always try and be parents, you know, try and be involved in the schools, because I hadn't been educated in France, so I don't know what's going on. So I wanted to be on the school board or wherever I could. I just put my hands everywhere. And we had some people. I had this meeting, and people with very different political opinions came, and I was just, I didn't know what to do. I was completely disarmed. And I just recalled a conversation I'd had with my sister, and she said, look, when it gets like that, Catherine, she lives in London, she's very well to do. She goes, you grab your little plate of biscuits, you go, another biscuit? You know, so that again disarms them. But you know, you're left at least offering something and not going into this full-fledged political row. And we're here talking about this, you know, kindergarten, for goodness sakes. I mean, it was just so, it was a nightmare. So these little things, you know, very, very nice. So yeah, or you don't engage in the discussion. And you surround yourself with enabled, and I like this, enablers, because I think that's really, you know, people who are doing things, who are into, you know, great mind growth who are reading, who are listening, or who you say, oh, I listened to this really good YouTube video, why don't you can I send you the link? And they'll be like, yes, and then they'll listen to it. Even if they are naysayers but they're okay, maybe you can have a discussion with that person later on, and maybe they're doing whatever they're doing very much like this, but maybe they're open. Maybe you'll find the video that makes them understand what you're doing. So that's also, and but you always must sort of try and central yourself and have this vision for yourself, and that's why you're doing whatever it is all these naysayers are against in the first place. So those are my little tidbits for now that I put together.
I love that. That's so okay. Just completely disconnect from the conversation. It reminded me of what JJ always says. He's like, you get to choose. You don't have to show up to every argument that you're invited to. So what I was saying before is how the resistance from other people when I first started this path, in hindsight, has actually enhanced my growth. Right? It forces you to really ask yourself questions and dig at yourself and sit within yourself. And then once you really know that your heart is on the right path, then you get stronger. And without that resistance, then I think the process would take longer. I mean, when you're in the moment and opinions are being thrown at you and you really don't know how to answer questions and you don't know how to respond, it is tough. Like, it's very challenging. And I know that I've been in a lot of arguments, a lot of tears have been shed over it. But once you get to that point in your power and you know your heart's on the right path and you know that that person is coming from fear, then it helps you grow. It helps you grow that resistance.
Yep.
Yeah, no, but I really love what Kat just said about disconnecting from the conversation. You don't have to justify yourself. You never have to justify yourself to anyone. And that's a really, really important thing to remember. And that was important for me when I finally got that you can believe and think as you wish, but there's no reason for me to sit and justify myself. Just give me time, and if you love me, you'll support me, and that's all that's expected from people who don't understand it. So for me, that's the place that I finally got to, is I will explain the best to my ability. I don't know everything about it. I'm still learning. I'm still a student, and I will always be a student, but I will be here to explain the best I can. And if that isn't good enough for you, then that's all I have to offer. I won't argue about it. You don't want to like Kat was saying, you don't want to engage or encourage that negative conversation based around something that you're so passionate about and learning about, because it sets up mental blocks. I for myself, I would get into an argument with my spouse, and then the rest of the day I would not be productive because I allowed it to really sink in. And that losing my productivity and my drive would last weeks. I would drop out from doing work for weeks. And of course, when you're reaching your goals, every single day matters. Like, I woke up this morning, I'm like, it's Monday, like we have another week. And now I can be like that. I can be excited because I have, I'm not this hugely successful person, but I've had so much growth and I have focus. And that's where your ideal day is so important. Just spend however much time you need to sit down and really ask yourself what your perfect day looks like. What is it that really makes your heart pound? What it might just be being able to take your kids out of school for the day and go do a trip somewhere you've never been, a day trip somewhere. Just having the freedom to do what you want when you want, to follow your heart. And like Kat said, the little things, just having a big bathtub, having that bathroom that you always dreamt of. Just sit down and figure that out for yourself. And that will be a place that you can always come back to, and it will keep you on path and focused towards the small things. And I agree with Kat. For me, it's the same thing. It's when I first started, it was about the money, because it was the dollar signs that were going to get me out of my circumstances that I was in. That's what I thought. But it always starts within. And that's what I've learned, is now when I try and set a financial goal, it's really hard for me because we can't reach our goals unless our emotions are involved, unless we truly are passionate about it. And when I make money goals, it doesn't do it for me. It's the same thing. I have to have more tangible something in life that makes me happy. And usually that's time with my son and experiencing life and different things with my son, travel. And that's the kind of thing that gets me going. So those are the kind of goals that I set now. So yeah, a very, very good point.
Well, yeah, because we're not all, we do. I mean, obviously the money is very attractive. Yeah, who wouldn't want to earn, zillions of money, dollars a month? Of course, me first, please. But I mean, I quickly realized, that just wasn't motivating for me. And so I had all these people saying, what are you doing? And yeah, well, I'll earn millions and we'll talk about it then, and I completely defazzled because they could see that this wasn't, even interesting me. And I was like totally into it. But and so until I found whatever it was that I needed to sort of ground myself, say, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing my ideal day, and I was, whoo, what do you mean your ideal day? This isn't going to earn you millions. What are you talking about? And there it come again. But at least I knew that with my ideal day, I could move forward. And yeah, it's constantly changing. Sometimes I want to live by the sea, and then I suddenly remembered that all these friends, because I used to live like 15 kilometers from the ocean, and all these friends had their cars sanded in. I was like, no, I don't live so close to the sea, As soon as there's a bit of wind, that's it. And it was the Atlantic Ocean, so it does sort of lower. So that was great. So all these things, like you can, you can erase that dream and just move it along a bit. But I want this house, put the space. And this takes ages, but it's better to spend the time doing that than, personally, obviously, I can only speak for me, and I'm trying to give value to people who might be like me and you, obviously, where, earning what, $10 or 10,000, obviously 10,000, we'd all love to earn 10,000. It's not what we're saying, but it just doesn't motivate us. So what does motivate us is, well, maybe what can I do with $10,000 just now? My boy's just had his bike stolen. Maybe I could just go out and buy a new one. That'd be really nice without thinking. I got 2 broken teeth. Well, maybe I could just go and have them capped straight away. Really expensive dental work. No thinking. These sort of things make me sort of want to get out there and work.
Freedom.
These are just the last few days of whatever's going on. So every day is like that, and every day something new gets added. So it's no big deal. That's life. Life turns around. But these goals then make me want to sit down and work till 2, 3 in the morning. I don't mind putting in the hours, as long as I've got when you're motivated, you don't even realize that you're not sleeping or not doing this, or I was really excited to get, my latest site Google compliant. It was really exciting. It wasn't like, whatever. And you put barriers on yourself because, most of the time Google just say, oh yeah, that's fine. Because we know what to do now. We've done a couple, so you more or less know what to do, but you want it, just perfect, just this. So you put your barriers high on yourself. So I think that, life is just too amazing to be spent in with naysayers who are just not in a comfort zone, who are never going to move anyway, who are just they're not people I want to be around. And I it's very sad, but yes, I had to let go of a whole load of circle of friends that weren't really my friends anyway, because I'm not like that really now. People grow, we progress, and so that's just the way it is. And I'm very, very blessed. I think we both are, to have this community where we can, get all this support, because it's very important. Like I was saying, you need a little cushion that's, carries you across. And that really is, I find, a community of like-minded individuals in whatever, field of activity you happen to be in. I think that is very, very, very important, because you can be your true self, if you like, or your new true self here. And then when you get off the computer or get off to talking with these people, you have to go back to the grime and till you find your way to deal with the naysayers. And that's not always easy. It's a tough position, as Rick was saying, many tears spent, computers flying, I mean, it's sometimes you feel like doing that, and other times you're like, no, it's not time. Like, no, not this one. I like this one very much. Yeah, it can be a very, dangerous and difficult, challenging time. So, you know, the more time you do spend making your ideal day in your own little bubble, the better it is, because, you know, when you do come out of it, you come out thinking, oh, great, I've progressed. I've learned a whole load of things. Look, darling, it's not quite, you know, that's not quite the reaction that's around you.
Yeah. That's another thing as well, is I would get, you know, we go to an event, right? Like go to an event and hang out with these people that truly empower you. You know, like we all have a power inside of us, and we don't even know it when we're in our comfort zone and we're just living day to day and we're not thinking about the goals and what really speaks to us. And then we come out of this trance, and this power within us wakes up, and you come back, and then you're put back into the reality of your circle of influence. And I learned very quickly that I was very excited, but I would share that excitement with the people who experienced it or who understood it. So I was careful who I spoke to, just to protect my mental state. You know, if I wasn't going to go and spill all my excitement onto someone who was just going to be like, oh, okay, great, because then it takes my power. So I learned how to, you know, tread in the waters that I knew was going to help me keep my power. And another thing too is, it's actually came from Gary Vaynerchuk. He said the more time you spend in the zone of worrying about what people think, the less time you spend executing your dreams. And you hear all these stories about people being on their deathbed, and none of them ever said, I wish I spent more time in the office, or I wish I worked that last 4 years to get my pension, or, you know, nothing like that. Like they always, it comes from the heart, and it's always, they think about their family and their loved ones and their goals and their dreams. And if we can put ourselves there now and start thinking about the things that are truly important to us, and get out of that daily rat race of going somewhere and doing things that we're not meant to do, and not, you know, then now's the time, and not waiting until we have those regrets. So just to put yourself in that mental spot when someone is at you, nagging you or giving you a negative opinion, and just think like, the only thing that matters right now is that I live my life to the fullest. And right now, today, the day that I have, the only thing that really matters is that I do everything I can to live my life to the fullest. And if you can stop worrying about the opinions, then you're in execution mode or action mode. You know, I like the word execution because it's not used as often, but yeah, then you're in that zone where you're executing because you're not worried about what other people think. And I really see it in my son. That's how children are. You know, they live in the moment. They don't care about what people are thinking. They do as they wish, and their true selves shine through. Like people say, like, if you want to know the truth, ask the kid, and they will tell you the truth, because they're not worried about what people are going to think. They just come from their true selves. So I think that's a real lesson that we can all take from kids, is get back into the zone of being who you are and expressing yourself no matter what people think, because there are people who think and feel like you. And when you find those people, like Kat and I have been so lucky to have found a group of people that think the same and feel the same, then when you find those people, it's life-changing. It's absolutely transformational. And then the naysayers don't matter anymore, because you're sure, your heart is sure.
Totally. Well said. Couldn't have said it better myself. Very well said. Still drinking in your words.
I love these conversations because, you know, like Kat and I, we individually, we prepare a little bit on the subject we want to talk about, but it never goes to a T on a schedule or word for word, or never, right? We feed off each other, and honestly, like, I learn. So we sit here and we discuss things that we know, but as we share what we know, we also grow, we learn. And because, like Kat just said, like, well said, I couldn't say it better. Same thing when she goes off and I'm just listening, I'm like, no kidding. kidding, no doubt. And when you get to find someone like that, and you can just, yeah, we're on a computer, you know, but there's nothing wrong with that. The connection is there. Whole community of people like that. Like I go onto a call, and now when I sit down with old friends, or, you know, my immediate circle of influence, not so much, you know, my mom or my sister or anything like that, but just my old friends, high school friends, stuff like that. I mean, I only have two high school friends that I still talk to, but they were friends before that. And I talk to them, and I feel like it's small talk. You know, it's not the weather and stuff, but I just don't feel like we're on the same page anymore. They talk about this, and I don't feel it. I can engage in the conversation, but I don't feel it. It's just a mental conversation, I guess. But when you're really speaking to someone that you're on the same, I don't want to say level, because I don't see it as different levels. I just see it as maybe different pages. Can you elaborate on that, Kat? I can't find the word, but like.
I can, actually. I wanted to talk about this whole webinar on this because I'm a great believer in energy, okay? And I'm a chemist by trade. So, well, trade is a big word, by training, I guess you could say. And so we're all vibrating, you know, as atoms, and, you know, like water can be water. If it's not vibrating so much, it'll be ice, or it can be steam. So depending on which vibrational level it's at, it changes physical state. So I like to use that because everyone sort of knows water. So it can go from the solid to the liquid to the gaseous state. And it just depends on how much energy is transferred, because it's a transfer of energy. You don't create energy. And I think that when, as you were saying, and it's so brilliantly said, you were talking about pages, because perhaps you didn't, you know, you don't have a chemistry degree or anything. So
that's accurate.
But, you know, I think I do talk in terms of levels, and because we're just vibrating at a different level. It's not we're better than you, we're not better than you, we got more energy. And the more energy you have, the more, well, let's say that, you know, guilt and shame is like at a vibration of 20. It's the lowest of the lowest, and I've vibrated that so long at that energy. I can assure you I know what it feels like. And then you go up and up and up, and let's just say the gratitude is like at 700, and enlightenment, you know, is Jesus, Buddha, etc. It's 1,000. That's the sort of scale. So there's a whole study on this, and of course the words fail me because I haven't, you know, looked this up, and I'm on the spot, so I've got to forget people's names. But this professor, he sort of tested everyone, like, if you do this, can you see this? You do this with one hand, and then this with the other, and you say, my name's John, you know, and it's total rubbish. So your fingers will just do this, right? Because there's no bonding. So when you say my name's Kat, then you can't, although I'm applying the same amount of pressure, it sort of stays because the energy is stronger. So that's how they test the sort of energies of all these emotions, you know, from fear, even anger is at 150, is a bit better than, you know, shame. Shame is just vibrating at no, because you're starting to, you know, transform the energy. So you go through all these transformations, and that's why, you know, when your friends, for example, I don't know what energy they're probably at, I don't know, say 100. I can't remember the scale, obviously, and you might be at 200, 300, 400, you know, and you're vibrating because you're meeting with people at this level. You obviously prefer to go up rather than stay down. So, which is why you can do the mental work with your friends, obviously, and it's not like naysayers, but it's the same sort of paragraph or the same chapter. People that you have to leave, not because you don't love them, or, you know, you can see them maybe later on when you've got the success that you want, and you can go back and spend time with these people, because you can't allow yourself to be at that vibrational energy, because you lose your creativity, you lose it, you know. And even if it is just the morning, just the afternoon, you know, you're having tea or whatever it is with these people, they just drain you, because as we drain other people who are up there, you know. When we're talking to people like JJ and all these, Jay, I mean, you know, you sit and talk to Jay, he must be, you know, can you imagine after Momentum Day, they are drained because they've been talking to all of us.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, we could totally do an entire series of webinars on this, and you'll just be talking because I'm learning.
No, I will send you articles to read and stuff.
Perfect.
But yeah. And so it's not that you don't want to talk to them, it's that you know, you can't. And they will feel really good when they've talked to you, even though they haven't, you know, touched on anything important or whatever. And this, I really realized this, because everyone's always said to me, you know, why don't I just grow up, stop being a kid and all this. So I've always sort of, you know, I'm fascinated when it doesn't rain, you know, I'm like, oh my God, the sky is blue. And people just go, what's your problem? You know, and I'm just like that because I can't be an adult, which is why, you know, it's been kind of difficult for me. And all these years I've spent in shame and guilt because I've just been like a little child who you've been pointing to, you know, it's like, oh. But now I you know, I'm over 50, so now there's also the age that comes into it. But you know, people just, well, you have to accept me as I am. I'm not meaning any disrespect. I'm not being harmful, but it's taken a long time, you know, because I spent so many years in doubting myself also, you know, so you have to get all your atoms aligned and everything back up. But once you're up there, you just find, I find, this is all personal, and most people say this, that you can't allow yourself, if you're really you know, want to be on the road to success, and you do because you want that ideal day to come to fruition for your family, for your children, for, you know, whatever. You're so high, that is your new goal in life, your new aim in life is that. So you can't be dealing with people who have a low vibration. It's not that you don't love them, it's just that you can't allow yourself to be pulled down, because we have, you know, as successful people, they spend a lot of time keeping their energy up, and it's not for nothing. It's because they give it out to certain, you know, people at a certain amount of times, because they can then protect themselves, you know, with stones, chanting, meditation before or after, whatever. You know, I'm taking 3 days off after a momentum day because, you know, whatever. And that's all relative, but these are steps you learn, and you learn how to deal with the higher up this scope of the ultimate consciousness. That's right. I was trying to find the name. Ultimate consciousness, which is, you know, it's an amazing, once you get to hold of this, once you know, you start going through, you cannot allow yourself to be pulled back down, because it's very easy to get back down to, you know, because it's the everyday life for you. That's how it was before. So it's easier to do that than to just, oh my God, I got to meditate, I got to do this, I got to choose to be happy, I got to, you know, this is quite, some days it's really tough. So you just let the naysayers get to you, and you're like, okay, I'll just go and, you know, humble, you know, I'll just, bleh.
Oh,
But
I can
it take ages,
yeah, wow.
to go out. So
Brilliant. I can't believe I haven't had this conversation before. This is so interesting. And it makes so much sense because I can feel it. When you explain it, I know it. You know, I can relate and put myself there, because it's exactly that. It's not that you don't love these people.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
And I can't find any. Oui, bonjour. Attendez 2 secondes.
She's so cute. So yeah, I mean, this, I hope you guys caught that. You know, it's amazing because I can really put myself there. She's right. It's not that you don't love these people, because you do. You love and care for them so much. But when you spend time with them and then you're back to yourself, you feel like you've lost energy. And it's, when you don't understand what's going on, it's hard to comprehend it. But just after hearing that and having it explained, I'm like, wow, that's exactly what's going on. It's that I'm now at a higher energy, and it's when I am brought down, which it's not through any negative energy. It's just relating with someone who is at a lower vibration. You can tell, you know, you leave that person and you can feel it. You've been drained, like been sucked. Something's been sucked out of you, and wow. I'm in a little bit of an awe right now, Kat, because it makes so much sense to me now. Yeah, I explained it like, when I'm with this group of people, I feel empowered. And then when I go back and I talk, and like you said, you love and care about these people. right? It's not that you judge them or anything. You're just with different people, lower vibration. And I just feel like, oh, exactly right, exactly. So just being able to keep yourself, yeah, like you just feel tired. And like, this is a live video, and I shouldn't be saying this, but I am all honest right now. I'm an open book right now. And me and my husband are on different levels, different vibrations. And when he comes and he leaves, I literally just want to sit on the couch and just sit on the couch and watch TV and just be like sleeping, no consciousness, just be, And now that I really understand what's going on, it's so amazing. It's an abs because I hate sitting on the couch. Like when I sit on the couch for 10 minutes, I'm like, oh my God, I've wasted 10 minutes. Like that's how I feel, so sitting on the couch for like 3 hours is like, it's so draining. And then you get up and you're like, what's wrong with me? Like, I don't feel like doing anything. And yeah, wow. We'll definitely be touching on this again.
Yes, definitely. Now, for that, I do have this thing that Danny taught us not so long ago. I hope you've all been to see the link on. We put it into each separately, but we both went back and quickly put in the link because she is such a darling. This woman, she's just amazing.
Oh yeah.
There's this thing that she does when she makes you have that red ball going from the
root
belly button.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Does that, and she makes you, well, I have to listen to it. I have to find that one in particular and put it down, but unfortunately, yeah, I didn't do this, and I had a very, very bad argument with my daughter. So that was very draining because that's, love, that's your blood and, your skin and bones. I don't know what the English phrase for that is, but it's like, so nothing to do with work, but again, things that, life goes on, but yeah, that's very, very difficult and very draining also, and it takes so long to get back up, if you ever do. It's like, but you have to. And like we were saying, it's not being successful is not an easy thing. People think that I've learned this, it'll be really easy, but it's not. And when you know all this and you look at successful people, I hope that it's not. I always say to people, yeah, I want to be a millionaire. Of course I do, but it's not so much the money aspect. It's when I look at millionaires, I see the work they've had to do, and I would, I'd kill for that. Well, not really, but
yeah.
Because they are very loving people, they're very caring, and they've had to go through a whole load of shit to get there. So
sorry, Kat, let's just say, like, just because someone's a millionaire doesn't mean they're loving and caring. I mean, a lot of times, like the millionaires that we know are value driven. They're value driven. They've gotten their success through on a true path. But financial success is attainable on a dishonest path. So let's just make sure, like, if someone's bank account doesn't decipher that they're honest and value driven, but where Kat's going, it's absolutely 100% right.
You see, this doesn't exist because I don't believe dishonest. People who are dishonest, I just zap. They're not in my world. But you are totally right.
Mm-hmm. Totally right. And mind you, that success, when it's achieved dishonestly, they might live out that success and enjoy it and have a window in their life when it's amazing for them, but it's not sustainable. And that's the difference. It's really quick success that isn't attained honestly and value driven, that it's not sustainable. Whereas the people who have really attained it through values and adding value to people's lives and doing the right thing, which is sustainable, those people have had to go through hell and high water, and usually within themselves, which is even tougher than the outer challenges that we deal with, So very good point.
Totally. So yep, I think we could go on and on, but I like to stop a little bit early because I have to get dinner ready and we've got another webinar coming.
Yes. Are you on the mastermind coming up?
Yes, you're not?
Yes, I am. I was just asking if you're going to be there.
I am. It's my best And then there's Danny tonight at 8 also. I mean, Monday night's pretty hectic night. Thanks for joining, I'd like to say. I think next week we should do it on the energy so that people can maybe understand what all that is about.
I love that. Yeah, good. Very excited for Monday already. And it's only Monday.
I get excited for every day.
It's true. I'm happy. Yeah. Okay, my darling and everybody, thank you for coming. And if you're watching the replay, thank you. And I hope you get some value from this. And we will see you all again next week.
Bye.